Hey there YouTube, welcome back to the shop. Dr. Yash here. So I got another Smokey Joe update. I was out here in the shop today and I got this wild hair that said, hey, pop the head off of it and see what it looks like. Now I got a couple reasons for this. It's not that wild of a hair, but I really wanted to see what the combustion chamber deposits look like, and also wanted to check out a couple things with the injector depth. I wanted to see how the injector was mounted, just because it has these 3 copper rings that set the depth on it, and I can't find any information in the service manual on how that's supposed to be placed. I imagine there's only supposed to be 1 copper ring under normal circumstances, and that's good enough, but it's not good enough for me, so I decided to go ahead and pull the head off of it. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this camera around and show you what I found. I found some pretty interesting stuff. I'm actually really glad I took the head off this thing for multiple reasons, but I'll show you here in a second. Alright, so got you flipped around. You can still see some of why I'm glad I pulled the top off of this thing. Yeah, Chinese diesel, ramen packet, jammed in the cooling fins. Like this whole area right here was full of ramen. And also the little section right here in the cylinder head was full of ramen. So that's great. So you can get an idea of how much carbon deposits we have here. A good little bit. And they're coming off easy. Very soft deposits I'm noticing with this. So if I had actually had this under a lot harder load, I imagine these deposits would have been in the territory of self-cleaning. Once you actually get some good cylinder pressures and good heat in the chamber, or yeah, once you get some heat in this combustion chamber here, you can see they're just coming right off. I mean, you can almost pick these off with your fingernails. So really soft deposits. Now, granted, I think these are wet, just simply because you know, the engine, as it was starving for fuel, it was running slower and slower and just barely getting any fuel. So it was a lot less heat, a lot less complete combustion. It was definitely blowing smoke and hitting and missing and carrying on doing all kinds of crap. So the likelihood that this was a little bit drier when the engine was running normal before I took the petcock off, I think it's reasonable to say that that may have looked a little bit drier before. You're sitting here watching me clean the deposits out of it. So I told y'all I like cleaning carbon deposits. This motor just by default has to run better after this. It's just kind of how it works. As you can see with this flat diesel chamber here, cleaned right up. Let me check out these valves. Nice. Uh-oh, we got some valve shrouding because not race car. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do anything about that. That would definitely be on a whole nother level of ridiculousness if I ported this head and you literally just watched me decarbonize this combustion chamber. That's pretty funny. There you go. I wanted to watch me do some work instead of just run my mouth. We can walk and talk. Cool. So, another cool feature of this engine right here is, y'all are going to cringe when I do this. That's the head gasket. Just pick that up off of there. Now, yes, you can reuse this. No, I can't just put the head back on. You have to anneal this. You need to soften this. So you heat it up, quench it in water to soften it, just like you would do with copper header gaskets. You need to do the same thing with this. You anneal it, and then you can reuse it, because copper work hardens. So if it's too hard, And when you go to you know, torque your head back down, it may not you know, may not crush adequately, and you end up with a combustion leak. So looks like I got valve reliefs in the piston. I'm kind of wanting to see the profile, you know, just basically the top of this piston. This is actually the first time I myself have had the diesel engine apart, so that was part of the reason I wanted to take it apart, just cause. You can see the actual combustion chamber down in here. It's got some pretty crusty deposits. You can tell the spray pattern. There's a peak here, a peak here, here, and here. So your spray pattern was spraying here, 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 and here. You can kind of see it. It's spraying there, 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 and there. So that's how your combustion chamber works in these diesels. So now these deposits in the chamber in the piston itself are actually harder than the ones on the rest of this piston head, piston crown, and what was on the cylinder head. So I'm going to go ahead and keep cleaning this up. I'll scrape all this off and come back, but basically you kind of see why I took it apart. The ramen. That was definitely necessary. So, and I also was wondering, you know, a lot of times when the problems you run into on a lot of these Chinese engines is fastener torque. So obviously the bottom end was torqued properly, or it would have came apart a long time ago. But you know, just things like that. You know, just want to go in here and retorque all these, just for the fun of it, honestly. But I'm gonna clean this whole deck surface up. It's got like some corrosion and stuff on it. But anyway, I'll come back when this piston's done. All right, so. Just a few minutes later, really didn't take me very long. Got in there and cleaned this up. Actually had some engine fogging oil, some CRC engine store. Just had that sitting over there. I said, what's this stuff do? So actually it helped me soften up the deposits even more. And of course I didn't go crazy and like polish the thing, but we got all the big stuff off. Cleared out the valve reliefs. So one thing to note, it really wouldn't have like hurt anything per se, and the engine would kind of, the deposits can only build to a certain point. If it's hitting, the deposits won't form there. They may make light contact at higher engine speeds when the rod might be stretching more, but generally speaking, those type of deposits would, I mean, we might have raised the compression up with the amount of deposits that were in here, considering how small the volume is at top dead center. We may have actually decreased the compression a noticeable amount by cleaning all this stuff out of here. Of course, that combustion chamber has no choice but to work better, being that much cleaner. But as far as like valve operation and stuff like that, I mean, if it was hitting, you'd see it. There would be marks, and I didn't see any marks. So, I mean, everything was black, greasy, oily, but it wasn't like super thick. It wasn't anything very hard. The only hard deposits were down in that combustion chamber, and I do believe that that's a function of the fact that this was run at such low loads. This is super. This is super indicative of a babied engine, since this thing ran at full governed RPM with virtually no load on it. Since I've had it on the waste oil, the EGTs were like about 360 at that point. So yeah, they weren't getting very hot. But one thing I did want to check that I think will be beneficial with all those extra copper rings, I want to check and see if the injector is set properly, the depth was set properly from the factory on this. Sometimes I wonder with the way that a lot of these Chinese engines are made, if the design is solid. It's the Yanmar design, it's good stuff, but you can see a couple details like this right here, little casting details which is nothing major. With an engine like this that doesn't spin over 3,600, I mean, you're worried about oil drain back. This isn't like, you know, a 9,000 RPM engine. It's not a motorcycle, so that's not really that much of a concern. But, you know, stuff like that, the little details like whether that injector was set at the right place, the details like, is the injection timing at the right place? That'll eventually get checked too. But, you know, overall, their machining practices, their castings may not be the most beautiful, but their machining practices look pretty good. No evidence on this copper ring gasket here that there was any head gasket leakage. So, like I said, going to anneal that, put it back together, and you know, we should be good to go. So the fun part's when I get to put a real load on this thing and see if those deposits form in the same way. But you can tell that kind of maintenance on something like this doesn't take very long. Do that on your straight 6 diesel engine and tell me how long it takes compared to it's really routine maintenance on an engine like this. So, but it looks like it's smiling at you, see? His eyes are different sizes, got a little nose, unibrow. Got a unibrow there. I got a little smirk. Or it's smiling and that's a mustache. I don't know. You decide. What do you see there? But it's definitely going to be happier without all those carbon deposits in it. But another thing to note too, the exhaust really, let's see if I can show you in there. The exhaust really isn't half bad. I'm really surprised it's not like totally caked up and disgusting in there. Most of that you can still see a lot of the texture of the underlying metal in the carbon deposits, so that's not bad at all. Not really sure what that hole is there in the roof of the exhaust port, but yeah, and the inside of the muffler had a little bit of caking, but nothing crazy. Nothing a little water injection couldn't take care of. Foreshadowing. I do intend to run water injection on everything that I'm running waste oil in, just to keep things clean and cool. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm just kind of playing around with this, seeing if there's any like deposits that got loosened up from that fogging oil. But anyways, I think that about covers it. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. I thought it was fun. I was just out here in the shop finishing up a few projects, few customers, pieces of equipment. Decided, man, it's literally 4. You just take 4 fasteners off to remove the muffler. You know, take the valve cover off. I mean, it was like 11 bolts. No, yeah, 11 bolts, and the head was off of it. It came right off. It wasn't sticking, anything like that. It just popped right off. So, you know, that was minimal effort there, and it might actually be easier to pull start now. You know, I lowered it. You know, what did we have, a 25 to 1 compression? Just kidding. I don't think it was that big of a difference, but there was. You know, it adds up quick when you have that small of a combustion chamber volume at top dead center. So there's no telling what it actually was. I should have CC'd it with all the deposits in there. You know, so this thing was like increasing in power as time went on because the compression was increasing. So, but yeah, actually the cross hatching in the cylinder, you can tell this engine has virtually no hours on it. It is an iron sleeve block. Cylinder looks fantastic, looks brand new. So, but yeah, we got the ramen noodles out of there. Got the combustion chamber and cylinder head and piston crown and valve reliefs and all that stuff all cleaned up. Got a good idea of how dirty the engine is, or maybe not so dirty. But give me a good baseline. Just getting a good idea of how it operates inside and out, the kind of buildup it's got. So, of course, this is naturally aspirated diesel as well. So, boosted applications probably fare better. You know, less black smoke. I mean, electronically controlled applications will fare better because they are automatically designed to not black smoke. This thing being mechanical injection, they really don't care. Just dump fuel, make it run. So, very crude and simple design. So, this is, again, the extreme worst case scenarios here. And that's what I'm looking for. just to see how bad can it be and where can we improve on it from here. So again, hopefully this video was informative to you, entertaining, educational, something. So I'll go ahead and jump off of here. Pretty much wraps it up. So you know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, I'll see you later.